Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of the We podcast. My name is Amanda, and I am joined today again by Dr. Art, the one and only Gudu. How are you, Gudu?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I was thinking about it's not been a week since we've recorded, or sorry, it's been a week since we've recorded, but it's not been a week since we've spoken. And we managed to have some good chats this week. But the question on my mind is food today. So we are going to start by talking about. Uh, there's three types of cuisines, I guess, technically that we can talk about today: Indian, Italian, and Canadian. So we have our work cut out for us. Um, uh, now, you live in Mumbai, right? So
Yes.
you're in a city that has lots of good eats. I see it on the internet, and I've been there in person. So you helped me. I was gonna say get a taste, but that's a terrible pun, especially to start off with. uh,
That's fine.
but uh, first question, right out of the gate, I'm putting you on the spot. What's your favorite thing in Mumbai to eat?
Oh my God, that's the most difficult question because I love
That's
everything.
like
I love
asking you your
food.
favorite band. Yeah.
So it's depend on my mood. Like my food is directly, my plate is totally on my mood. Like if I'm sad, I want something different. When I'm happy, I want something different. So, but I love all the food. Like I am vegetarian, so obviously there is a limitation. So if you right now, if you want me in my mind, what is coming is that street food. I love street food right now because I just recovered from illness and I was eating all healthy. So I think I'm craving for some street food.
Ooh. Street food, like you're talking like bale, or you're talking like oh gosh, there's the famous sandwiches in Mumbai, right? But
Yes.
vada pav, that's what I was thinking. That's something
So
that they make
yeah,
very well in
so
Mumbai,
that's what
right?
was going on in my mind. I think we have that connect. So do you remember when you visited? There was a stand where there was a person was making dosas. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
those dosas I really miss, and the bale, the pani puri, or the chaat, all I can go right now for that.
Oh my goodness, we
Even though
should
it's a breakfast time, sorry to interrupt. Even though it is a breakfast time, I want to eat that.
Can I be honest? There's something that I love about Indian food. There's many things I love about Indian food, and I'll tell you a story in a moment. The first item I ever ate that was like Indian food in Canada for me. But I feel like one of the strengths is any food can be breakfast food. Like there's like all kinds of you can eat it breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's just very good flavors, and it's a difference I noticed too. Like Canadian food, there's a very clearly like a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner sort of menu. You can still eat breakfast for dinner, but you'll never hear someone say the name of the dish. They'll say, "Oh, I had breakfast for dinner." So Indian food's not boxed in like that. It's just kind of here's the recipes, here's the meals, and I know that there are certain things people eat for breakfast, obviously more likely, but you're not limited. I very much I enjoyed that freedom when I was in India, and we had very good food when we were there. So, but that's awesome. Okay, so now I'm hungry and I want vada pav, and I'm an 18-hour flight away, but. Yeah, I can get there. I'll, I'll meet you. uh, very good, very good. I guess I'll answer the same question, but here, which is very difficult. I have my nonna, so I gotta go with her sauce, and her homemade gnocchi. Um, because yeah, there's nothing like that. So that I won't eat for breakfast though. It's a little bit too heavy for me for breakfast. But I said I would tell a story. So I'll tell you this really quick, and then I wanna know. Uh, about the first time you were in Canada and like one of the first meals that you had here. But the first time I had Indian food, I was in university, and I went to university in the city next to Toronto, Mississauga. And like Mississauga and Brampton are known for having very good like Indian restaurants and when you know the diaspora of the cities, it obviously makes sense. Scarborough as well has some good spots, but I think it was a friend of mine. We were going to study, and she said, "Oh, let's get food. Let's get Indian food." And I grew up in a town that didn't really have a lot of multiculturalism in terms of cuisine. The town I grew up in is very small, or I guess was when I was growing up. Now it's a lot bigger. So I had never. I obviously knew what Indian food was, or I thought I did. We can talk about that in a moment too. But I said, okay, let's go. So we get to the restaurant, and I'm trying to read the menu. I have no idea what's going on, and I'm just like looking, and I see chickpeas, and I think, okay, yeah, okay, I like chickpeas. I didn't want to get butter chicken because that was the dish that everybody got in Canada, and I wanted to do something different. So I decided to choose chana masala, which to be honest, the name sounded really cool, and I like chickpeas. So I said, okay, I'm gonna try this. I didn't know that masala just like like if I say like chana masala, like what it to me that was such an exotic meal, and then I found out that's not like, is that a pretty common dish in India or
It is common dish, but not like every day. It's very common in Punjab side if you go.
okay. Uh, and that's something I find in Canada is a lot of what people call Indian food. Like there's many different styles of, just like in Italy there's different styles of cooking. In India there is too, but I feel like to Canadians, or at least to Ontarians, maybe there's so many Punjabi restaurants, very good ones too. But that's what we think is Indian food. We often think of the sort of heavier curries and uh, dishes that you would call Punjabi style. But I just remember I had this dish, and I had the first bite that I took. I thought, oh my gosh, like I've never had something with this many spices in it, and I was very like overwhelmed. And then 3 days later, I was because you're a student, you're poor. I was counting my dollars to see if I could go back and get it again. uh, and I would go back many times. But that's one thing that's where I was going with that story, is the flavors in Indian cuisine. I feel like there's such a harmony of spices, and everybody talks about this, but um, when you add to it that there's different styles of cuisine, it's like it's a beautiful thing. And I'm speaking now as an Italian. Italians love, we have that in common. We both love food. Um, but it's the medley of spices and how it comes together in Indian cuisine that I really think is the most magical. People are afraid to put spices in dishes, and then meanwhile, Indian cuisine I feel like is like, oh, I don't think we put enough. Let's add, and it always works to me. Like it's always just like a mural. It's beautiful. Um, so there you go. There's my, I'm professing my love for chana masala. But what about you? Visited Canada before? Can you tell me like what was the first thing you ate when you came to Canada, or the first, I guess, Canadian meal like to you?
Okay, so one thing I want to add on my previous answer, like you has mentioned you
Yeah.
nonna. So for me
Hmm.
also, I stay here away from my parents. So whenever I visit my mom and dad, my mom's home cooked meal, I literally go there to eat only. I three times I eat and I don't do anything else other than that. So I'm very thankful.
I've tried her food,
Sorry,
so yeah.
I'm very thankful for my mom's meal, and she always prepares with all the love and in her heart. I think that also we have in common, that our moms in Italian also they
Yes.
cook with very passionate cooking is there. And coming back to your answer to what I ate in the when I came visited in India, sorry, when I visited Canada. So when I first visited, that time it was 2014, and I was staying with my brother, your husband. And as you know, Indians are always prepared, especially we are Gujaratis, so we
Yeah.
always bring our food with us. So we were all planned, you know. We had our we had our things with us, khakra and everything, but still, we had a place, we had a kitchen. So I came
Mhm.
and Shivam was looking at me, and I was like, okay, I want to eat, and I was like, okay, I'll prepare something, and I just went quickly to the grocery store, and I basic things I found, and I had my masalas and all with me, because I we always keep it with us. And I prepared a home cooked meal. So we made aloo sabzi and chapati when I first visited the can, like first
Oh
time and
wow.
even second time. So because he always looks at me with the puppy eyes, and you know, he says, I want to eat your hand cooked meal. So I
Yeah.
have to make save tomato for him every time I visit.
Oh. Now, just for anybody who wouldn't know, can you just quickly explain aloo sabji and then quickly explain saved tomato? Because we're listing a lot of dishes, and it's that's my ulterior motive of this episode is I love Indian food so much. Anybody who doesn't know, I want you to have the list of not just dishes. I want Gujarati dishes listed today, uh, because yeah, say please.
So save is something which is like a snack. You can have it like simply like that. It can be added in many other things also in dry snacks. But you can make a curry also out of it. It is made up of besan or ground flour, you can say. And the base we use is tomato. So tomato gravy, and in that, once it is cooked, we put the save, and like with the masalas and everything, definitely. But that adds a very good unite, you can say.
Oh yes, I just nodded. We're not on video. We really should start video soon. I'm
Soon.
nodding, and as we're talking, people
Soon,
can't
soon.
see me
Yeah.
nodding. But I saved tomatoes is very very good dish, and aloo is potato, right?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
what aloo means. So aloo sabji is just a potato
Potato curry.
curry. Yeah.
Sorry, I was
Uh,
in my head visualizing that memory, so I just maybe said the name, didn't translate it.
No problem. No, no, it's no problem. And you were talking about mom's cooking, I think, when you said it. So
Yeah.
I've tried mom's cooking. I've tried your cooking as well, and that's definitely very very delicious. And there's so much there's so much soul in both of your cooking. Like when we visited, and mom taught me some recipes, and I literally came with a notebook, a paper and pen, and I stood in the kitchen and I watched because that's what I did whenever I could growing up to learn how to cook. And then I also ended up working in a setting where I got to teach children how to cook, and that's where I learned about all different kinds of cuisines. Um, but I I love those stories, and you brought up saved tomato, so I need to tell you about the first time I ever had this dish. When Shivam and I began dating, and he wanted to cook me a meal, and he said, "I'm going to cook you save tomato." Now, to me, I so save is spelled SEV, right? But it sounds like the word in
Yeah,
English
save.
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 So he kept saying, "I'll make you save tomato," and I I don't want to say I was too embarrassed, but maybe I was too shy to ask him
Why you
what
want
he
to
was
save
saving the
tomato?
tomato for. Yeah, I was like, what are we saving? I was just so confused. And then he made the dish, and I'd never seen save. So I'm thinking, oh, what is in this curry? This looks very interesting. And then I tried it, and I was so upset that I'd never had it before. It was so good. I was like, why have I never eaten this before? Uh, but that's just my silly. Every time someone says save tomato, I always remember that.
Yeah. And another thing, like when I visited there, I made a friend there. I was like, initially I was staying there and in her hostel, B&B, but she used to cook breakfast for me. And then
Oh, very nice.
lunch and dinner were outside, so I used to eat it with Shiv. But then like the breakfast was very different than ours. Like we never cook fruits in our breakfast, so she'll make something like peach with rosemary and honey and something like that. And it initially it was very amusing to me, yet like hard to, you know, get adjusted to it. But I have
Yeah.
traveled and I have stayed out of my house for most of my life, so I always, you know, give it a shot. but it was very
Yeah.
yummy. Yeah. So what I see there in Canada when I visited was like initially breakfast people have croissant or some like sandwich or something they can eat while travel. And in India, if you see, it is like either poha, upma, all these things are breakfast items. So there is a vast, huge difference, but still we have many similarities as well.
Yeah, it's that's very true, and that is a good point. So a main difference that I always noticed between, I guess, more Canadian foods and Italian foods, even between those two, and so then certainly between Canadian and Indian, is that there's a lot of sweet dishes in Canada. I was trying to think of dishes that are classically Canadian, things that we've invented even, and most of the list is desserts. Nanaimo bars are Canadian, butter tarts are Canadian. The we even invented a type of pizza here. So I guess here's an Italian Canadian crossover, except the type of pizza that we invented is Hawaiian pizza. So if you don't know what Hawaiian pizza is, it has cheese, ham, and pineapple. So we even put fruit on the pizza.
Yeah, I think we also
uh,
have here, but the name is different, I think.
Probably. But so if you I guess it depends on how much you trust Google, but it is accurate and has been confirmed that Ontario apparently invented this Hawaiian style pizza. Why we named it Hawaiian is kind of mean of us. Why we should
Maybe,
have just taken
I think
credit.
because of pineapple, it is like kind of,
Probably.
tropical. It feel gives the tropical feeling maybe.
It's true, but we opened a can of worms because there is a great debate about pineapple on pizza.
I
And
I think we don't have enough time for our podcast to go in that one.
we don't, and for liability purposes, I will not be revealing if I do like pineapple on pizza or not. I'm obviously making light.
And one another
uh,
thing sorry, I it came my
yeah,
mind, so I'm just saying that because we are just
say
conversing.
it.
So one more thing I tried there was in 2014 when I visited was we made a vegan sushi. My friend, which I was told you earlier, where I was staying, she's a chef, amazing chef, and she was trying her recipes on. So that time, first time when I tried sushi was there, and it was vegan sushi. So we made it from rice. Now it is very common, but that time it
Yeah,
was like like for me sushi was always something related to like non-vegetarian or fish or something like that. But
yeah,
she first time made me try that, and that was a good experience I had there. And another thing we had was avocado and quinoa. We went out to a restaurant and we
yeah,
had that avocado and quinoa dish, like it was made from that, and that was also amazing. So when I visited Canada, which I feel that you always should travel and explore the cuisine outside, because
yes.
we can get out of our comfort zone and we can get to know the other recipes also. And now we are becoming, because of the internet and social media, we know everything, but in that time it was not that common.
It's very true. And I almost feel like the danger of the internet is we think we know everything, right? But
Yeah,
the true so knowledge we can study to learn, but wisdom is only taught through experience, right? So
definitely.
I like I like your method. For you the proof is in the pudding. Oh, the food puns are coming today. The proof is in the pudding. And you
I
go and
think
you
you had
test
too
it
much
out.
to have coffee, I think, today, so you are all energized.
That's it. So much coffee. I live on caffeine. uh, but I certainly
But I always
am
enjoy our recording time, sorry I interrupted
yes.
again.
No, you didn't. Hey, we are the point of this is just to have a discussion, and I think we explored some good dishes. I'm certainly hungry. I have worked up an appetite. We mostly focused on Indian food, which is good. Which is good. In the final question, I'm pretending as if I've written these before. The only question I really had down was that I really wanted to talk about saved tomato. I told you that was my That was the one thing I said, Guru, we have to talk about it. Because for me, it's such a novel idea. But the let's maybe talk about it the last little bit. Italian food is Italian cuisine. So Italian cuisine in Canada is very popular. I remember growing up. For me, Italian food in the home was very different than in the restaurant. And then this is kind of similar to how we had the conversation about Indian food in Canada, a lot of it being North Indian food, right? But for me, I asked my nonna this, and so my question to you is going to be, what is India? Is there Italian food in India, and how does it, I guess, compare to maybe what I've told you about Italian food, or what I'm about to tell you about Italian food? But I'll start with my anecdote here. So my grandmother, right from the beginning, the first time Shivam came over, she always talks about her food, and she always says, Italian food, it's very simple. And she says it in a very humble way, where she's asking you to consider that her food is very simple, and hopefully you'll still enjoy it. Her food is delicious, and it's delicious in part because it's very simple recipes, tomato sauce. It they We do eat meat in Italian cuisine, but you don't have to. You can have vegetarian Italian dishes, and I did grow up eating meat, but decided a couple years back that I wanted to become a vegetarian. So we eat Italian food all the time still. But I asked my grandmother, so, for you, what's the difference between Italian food and food that is, maybe people have Italian heritage, but they've lived in Canada for a couple generations, or you go to the restaurant and you have Italian food here? What's the difference, Nonna? And the one thing that my grandmother always talks about, and it always bugs her, is that for some reason, there's so much cream. There's all these rosé sauces and uh, what is it, fettuccine alfredo, and all of these like cheese heavy and really really heavy sauces, and she can't stand it. She always says, I watch the cooking shows, and they make a nice sauce, and then they pour all this cream in it, and I have to change the channel because I get so upset. And I understand it because, she's born and raised in Italy. She came to Canada as a teenager. So for her, the dishes she's making, that's Italian food. That's what she knows. That's what she sees. But call it enhancement, whatever you want, right? When you move, now you're away from Italy, and Canada is classically known as that mosaic, especially somewhere like Toronto, South Ontario. It's a lot of multiculturalism here. So she noticed that that's what sort of crept into the Italian cuisine, was they started adding all this cream. And I'm assuming they probably do it in some Italian recipes, just not the part of Italy she's from. Um, but it gets me to my question. So now that you know, I guess my family's gripe with Canadian Italian cuisine. Personally, I've had fettuccine alfredo before, and I did enjoy it. But I don't care for this rosé sauce business. What's Italian food like in India? Does it exist? Is it like what I'm describing?
So I'll tell you, like, just briefly, that thanks to my mom and dad, since childhood we used to go out and eat, and it was not that common to have all this different kind of food. We always had Gujarati food and Punjabi food,
Yeah.
like in the restaurant. And slowly as we grew up, it came with the pizza and fries.
Yes.
And that, if you say Italian, so either it is pizza, pasta, and something like that. But now, as we are getting connected more with the world, and we are growing faster, now we have the Italian authentic food here as well.
Very nice. Okay. Okay.
So
Well,
initially
on my
Italian
next
pasta
visit.
was like just made with some sauce, and it was not, I think it was not authentic, or we used to make our Indian version of Italian pasta, you
Yes.
can say. It's like, wherever whatever we cook, we will put always something from our palate, maybe you can say.
Of course.
but
Yeah.
there are good restaurants now available. There they prepare proper, follow the recipes of the Italy and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't know much
Like
about
a
the authenticity, how it is cooked, because I don't know. I haven't been there, but I think they do properly.
the, so they try to stick to the script, you could say.
Yes,
And
yes.
I definitely expect India to make something their own, because that's something that I very much love about India is uh, there's an identity that's like so obviously historic, but it's something that Indians are proud of in a way that I don't really see an ego in.
Yeah, and like it's what I was going to say. Uh, what I was going to say is, like, though it is good to have the different things and all, but if you remember yesterday only we spoke about it, that some of the combinations are the deadly one, and it is creating
Yes.
some very ununique recipes, which feels like it should not be, this experiment should not be done. So I
It's
think we
true. It's
should
good for
wind up our
clickbait, but
episodes
not for
by
food.
talking about that.
It's true. I don't want you to be late for breakfast and me to be late for dinner. Okay, I'm done with my food puns. Now that everyone's very hungry, we'll put a list of all the items we mentioned in the comments. If you made it to this point in the episode, our question to you is: what's your favorite Indian dish? What's your favorite Italian dish? Your favorite Canadian dish, or just your favorite dish from your own culture, your own cuisine? Please share it with us. We'd love to have this chat with you continue, and we'd love to see you in the next episode. This has been Culture and Cuisine from the We Podcast. I'm Amanda, and I am featuring Dr. Art on this episode again. We'll see you next time, everybody.
So one for my city, two for my city. God knows what I wouldn't do for my city. Three for my city, four for my city. No, I'm the one who'd go to war for my city. Five for my city, six is my city. Holla at me if y'all vibe with my city. Come try on my city, don't you lie in my city. Symbol of truth, I'll fight for my city.
The West East podcast is part of the We campaign, also known as Anti-East Indian Hate Campaign by Viragya Entertainment. You can weigh in on the conversation in the meantime in our comments section or on our social media. You can also visit www.imshivam.net/w.e. Remember, Vasudev Kutumbakam. We are all one family. Until next time.